the Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we talk Kansas farmland values with K-State's Dr. Reid. We'll also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission, Kansas Department of Agriculture, and Kansas Grain Sorghum, along with the weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion to round up the show. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com. In agriculture news, the Kansas City Fed says the agriculture credit condition remains strong in the second quarter, but slower improvement is expected during the months ahead. Now, the bankers who participated in the Federal Reserve survey of ag credit conditions say farm income continued to increase, but the pace of that increase slowed in recent quarters, and further softening is expected moving forward. Farm loan repayment rates continued to strengthen, but the pace of improvement also slowed. Following about 2 years of acceleration, farmland values also showing signs of moderating as interest rates continue to increase. Strength in farm finances continue to support a positive outlook for agriculture credit conditions for the remainder of 2022, but risks to the farm economy are more noticeable. With a substantial increase in production costs over the last 2 years, profit margins for many producers could be squeezed by a sizable decline in commodity prices. Balance sheets likely remain strong for 2022. USDA's Economic Research Service reports the interest expense ratio of farms was 0.04 in 2020, remaining in line with the long-term trend and initial forecast despite the pandemic. COVID reduced demand for ag commodities, and the interest expense ratio, calculated by dividing interest expenses by the sum of the value of production and government payments of a given year. Interest expenses are the costs incurred by farm operations when debt is used to finance farm activities. And America's farmers and ranchers will soon have the opportunity to be represented in the nation's only comprehensive and impartial agriculture data for every state, county, and territory. USDA will mail the 2022 Census of Agriculture to millions of ag producers across the 50 states and Puerto Rico this fall. The 2022 Census of Agriculture will be mailed in phases, starting with an invitation to respond online in November, then a paper questionnaire in December. Farm operations of all sizes, urban and rural, which produced and sold $1,000 or more of agriculture products in 2022 are included in the Ag Census. Collected in the Service to American Agriculture since 1840, now conducted every 5 years by the National Ag Statistics Service. The Census of Agriculture tells the story and shows the value of U.S. agriculture, and changes in the questionnaire include new questions about the use of precision agriculture, hemp production, hair sheep, and updates to the internet access question. We'll talk farmland around Kansas when we return.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas corn, with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grassland Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grasslandgrain.com. And joining us now is Reid, who is K-State Ag economist. And at the Risk Profit Conference is where I ran into her as she presented land values, farmland values here in the state of Kansas. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think that's been one of the topics of conversation in many coffee shops, many kitchen tables, when we have seen some of the national reports that came out that shows that in everything else going on, farmland value is very strong.
Absolutely. So a report that just came out last week was the National Ag Statistics Service, and what they had is Kansas land value up 25% over a year ago. And while Kansas is a lower value state than a lot of our surrounding states, especially, like at Iowa, Illinois, kind of that, we increased more by far than any other state around us. That 25% increase was very significant.
I think the national media and others really caught on. I think it surprised some. Is that primarily because of inflation, or what were some of the factors that led to that?
Sure, there's a lot of things driving our land values. Farm income is still very influential in our land values. We had a great year in 2021. This year probably not as good because of the input cost, but still very strong income in the farming sector. Interest rates, obviously, a lot of effect on there. In the short term, I think it's adding strength to our land market because people want to get that land purchase done and that interest rate locked in, knowing it's going to increase. But long term, that will start having a cooling effect on our land markets, and then obviously inflation, as you alluded to.
What about supply demand? I mean, have we reached that point now where that generational change of ownership and those that maybe don't live in Kansas or live on the farm decided to do that to get some cash? Has that any influence at all?
So what I can look at there is the volume of land on the market. We saw a pullback in 2014, 15, 16 as the land market kind of stabilized or didn't grow because of less farm income. At the end of 2020, we really saw a lot more land coming on the market. 2021 had about 570,000 acres of land sell across the state, which is the highest volume that I have seen since I started studying 5 or 6 years ago. So there's a significant amount of land on the market, but really that did not bring our prices down. With that much land on the market, we still had a very large increase in land value last year and in the first 2 quarters of this year as well.
We're talking with Dr. Reid, K-State Ag economist, focusing on land values in the state of Kansas. We're going to take a break, come back and talk if there were some things that surprised her, and if there was a certain maybe section of the state that a little stronger than others. We'll do that in just a moment. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
And our guest is Dr. Robin Reid, K-State ag economist, talking about land values in the state. The presentation, the release happened at the Ag Profit Conference in Manhattan, and so the numbers are out there. Any really surprises, or was there just kind of top of your head anything that kind of jumped out that you said, well, that's interesting?
Well, so kind of back up a little bit. We publish a book every year that has land values even at the county level, from what we get to have access to from the Property Valuation Department in Topeka, so actual land sales. And I summarize those yearly, but as quick as things are moving right now, I actually have a Q1 and Q2 summary to compare to last year. And what I found as well, even in looking at actual sales, the first quarters of this year have increased 25% at the state level over last year. And there's pockets of the state that have increased 50% over what we saw last year. So really, really strong market. You know, maybe the other things to pick out of there is just where land is selling. Northeast Kansas, not near the volume of sales that we're seeing in a lot of the areas of Northwest, West Central, and Southwest.
All right, Robin, so moving forward, put that crystal ball, what is all this data, and what are trends and past history telling you as we move forward?
So that's the $1 million question, or in today's land market, probably more than $1 million question. But one thing I've studied too, so the Federal Reserve comes out with their survey of ag lenders and what their perceptions are of the ag economy and expectations going forward. And what we've seen in that already is from Q1 to Q2 of this year, already a pullback in the increase in land value. So land value is still increasing, but it's increasing at a decreasing rate. So I think those interest rate hikes are starting to come into play. Just concerns over drought areas of the state, input costs, slower commodity prices as of late. It is starting to kind of soften that land market some.
Yeah, before we leave, we need to touch a little bit about pasture land, grassland. We know there's been a huge challenge because of the drought, and it seems like just from ancillary discussions that market isn't quite as hot as it was, say, even 3 years ago.
I'll push back that on a little bit. I definitely agree from a cattleman's perspective that, you know, grass is hard to find, and the returns aren't there to pay what it would pencil out in a cattle budget to be. But what we're really seeing around the state, the strength in that pasture land market, is coming more from out of state investors, specifically hunting interests, are coming into a play in a lot of local land markets. And I've seen that in the area that I live, but I am hearing that anecdotally all across the state. And that, I would beg to say, is why we see a 25% increase in that value as well, not because the cattle market can support it, but because of the out-of-state interest in that ground. So
that's still there, okay?
Yes, yes.
Well, again, you can find all this information. There's a lot of data, and you can break it down by region, and that has continued to be developed at agmanager.info. So, Dr. Reid, thanks for joining us. Very insightful.
Oh, my pleasure.
Dr. Robin Reid, K-State ag economist, has joined us. We'll have more coming up in just a moment.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
615 individuals from across the global soybean industry converged in San Diego, California for Soy Connect, August 23rd and 24th. The U.S. Soybean Export Council, USEC for short, hosted the conference, which brought together soybean buyers and sellers to discuss the quality and sustainability of U.S.-grown soybeans that give them an advantage in the world's marketplace. Among a full slate of presentations on geopolitics, animal nutrition, plant-based protein trends, and soybean sourcing tools, Onega, Kansas farmer Lance Reid, who represents Kansas on the USEC board, participated in a panel presentation. Joining Reid was Monty Peterson of North Dakota, Doug Winters of Illinois, and panel host Mac Marshall, Vice President of Market Intelligence for USEC. The panel covered the soybean crop outlook for 2022, with weather variability being the overarching theme. Technology and sustainability also came into the discussion as each farmer shared how he's been able to manage the soybean crop this season. USEC was also able to share an exciting update on their U.S. Soy Sustainability Assurance Protocol designation, also called SSAP. The Sustainable Agriculture Initiative platform used its farm sustainability assessment to benchmark the SSAP at the silver level equivalence, which validates the on-farm sustainability within the U.S. soybean supply chain. Of the registrants at Soy Connect, 344 were trade team members and 126 were USEC affiliates. 60 passport countries were represented. For more on USEC and its mission, visit ussoy.org.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
The Kansas State Fair begins September 9th, and it's one of the best parts of the year for the Kansas Department of Agriculture, as many of our staff will assist in a variety of areas ranging from animal health and food safety to agriculture education and advocacy. Our trademark program, From the Land of Kansas, will have a booth in the Pride of Kansas building all week, which will feature member companies offering tasting opportunities and selling their products. KDA will be represented at the Agriland booth, also in the Pride of Kansas building, where children can enjoy a hands-on experience, learning how Kansas crops and livestock provide us with food and other items we use every day. On the first Saturday of the fair, KDA will be hosting the Kansas Grape Stomp event at 1 o'clock. This event is a fun opportunity to learn about the grape and wine industry in Kansas and see who will be crowned the Kansas Grape Stomp Champion of 2022. Meanwhile, KDA's Division of Animal Health staff oversees biosecurity services for the thousands of livestock exhibitors bringing animals to show and competition. You'll see us in the barns throughout the fair as we help ensure the safety of all animals and exhibitors. And our food safety and lodging program personnel will be present to inspect the food vendors and to provide education and assistance, ensuring that food preparation areas are clean, food is prepared and stored safely, and that workers are following proper food handling guidelines. The Kansas Department of Agriculture encourages all Kansans to head to the fair to enjoy all of the exhibits, entertainment, competitions, and educational displays. The Kansas State Fair, September 9th through 18th, is a wonderful showcase of Kansas agriculture, industry, and culture, as well as an educational and entertaining experience that is the pride of all Kansans. To find out more, go to kansasstatefair.com.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
I guess I've always been involved in farming, grew up on the farm, and it's just something that I've always wanted to do.
I farm is something that as a kid, a child, I grew up with. I think for the smaller communities out here in Kansas, it's very important. It's basically the driving force that keeps a lot of the small communities alive.
Well, why I farm is it's in my blood. I'm the fourth generation to be right here on this farm. Probably ever since I started farming, I've grown grain sorghum. There's nothing like the hands-on experience that you get from doing it.
I try everything I can to work sorghum into the rotation. Sorghum is vital to the economy because every bushel we raise out here that is delivered to a local elevator or to local terminal, that money is allowing producers to reinvest that money here, help grow our economies, help grow our small communities, support the local co-ops, the local agronomy suppliers.
Farming and being an ag producer is the ability to help feed our populations, but also develop new ways to enhance soil health and make sure that the farm is passed on from generation to generation for years to come.
We need good young people that are out here farming. There's some really good young guys out here, really excited when they get involved with both their community organizations, but also get on some statewide organizations. I think these commissions set the standard for what will happen with the industry, with markets, with expanding new markets to use our grains.
Everybody on the board is a sorghum producer. You have to be actively growing the crop. Everybody is involved and wants the best for their money.
It's amazing what they get done with what they have. I've been totally impressed with the commission.
You get to see where a lot of your checkoff dollars go and the reason behind that, and you have the opportunity to have input in that process.
It had been 07, 08, 09, and I'd go to seed dealers, seed companies, and be like, what have you had in research in sorghum? And their answers were nothing. I saw that as a huge issue in the fact of sorghum is a good crop for our area, to really get down and figure out what our priorities are and really where we want to invest and where we want to focus our research dollars to help promote sorghum and help advance technology with the crop.
We know that what we do here makes a difference in a lot of lives all over the world.
It's just vital for the economy in general that it allows us to move dollars through here and bring money from outside of Kansas into the state and help continue to be an economic driver. It's just vitally important that we continue to rely on the grain production and things to help be that economic driver for these small communities. My name is Stephen Biggie and I farm in north central Kansas in Rooks County.
Kevin Kniebel. I farm not too far from Manhattan, Kansas to the south.
I'm Kevin Harris.
Mike Rosebrook.
Nathan Larson.
Clark Bibb, I'm an at-large member of the Kansas Grain Sorghum Commission.
And I'm serving on the Kansas Grain Sorghum Commission Board. You're in God's creation out here, and we get to work in it every day. The miracles of putting seed in the ground and producing abundantly it's just, I can't top it. It's not just an occupation, it's not just a job, but it's just a tremendous way of life.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
By Meats Land and Cattle Company of Leroy and heifers owned by Arndt Farms of Emporia were the winners of grand awards at the Flint Hills Beef Fest in Emporia. The awards are based on the best combined finish in the Grass Futurity and Livestocker Show. An entry from Meats Farms of Leroy won the steer division of the Livestocker Show. Second place was a pen of steers owned by Arndt Farms. Anderson Ranch of Alma owned the heifers, placing first in the Livestocker Show. Those in second were entered by Woodbury Lusk Cattle of Quinamo. Entries in the Beef Fest Grass Futurity were on pasture from late April through mid-August. Cattle were ranked by the greatest adjusted gain on grass. Anderson Ranch had the champion pen of 3 in the steer division, with the cattle gaining 2.62 pounds per day. An entry from Jim and Donna Bates from Galesburg won second in the Grass Futurity, gaining 2.51 pounds per day. The heifer Grass Futurity was won by the pen of 3 entered by Fredonia Livestock Auction with an average daily gain of 2.64 pounds. The Grand Award-winning heifers owned by Arndt Farms placed second, gaining 2.62 pounds per day.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Mitch Dewar here with Pinion Risk Management. On Friday, August 26, ProFarmer released their 2020 yield and production estimates. The total U.S. corn crop came in at 13.759 billion bushels and an average yield of 168.1. Soybeans were at 4.535 billion bushels and 51.7. There was a large reduction from USDA's August numbers, and the corn market seemed to trade that bullishness leading up to the report. Sunday night into Monday, the crop market confirmed the report and traded to new highs for the recent move. Futures lost some of the rally throughout the rest of the week, with harvest in the near future, along with some pressure from the outside markets. In the soybean market, we saw the market struggle after the ProFarmer projected a slightly bigger crop than the USDA had projected in its August report. We have moved into the month of September with a very counter-seasonal corn rally. The trade will be looking for combines to get in the field and see what yields actually are at. Basis is exceptionally strong and will be something to watch throughout the rest of the year. Please have a safe harvest and give us a call at 888-452-8751 to discuss your grain and livestock marketing needs. I'm Mitch Dewar with Pinion Risk Management.
That's our show this week. Be social with us at KansasAgReport.net or our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Are you looking for Medicare supplement insurance plans? Now is a good time to look at your options with Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. A Medicare supplement insurance plan can help cover certain out-of-pocket expenses Medicare doesn't cover. Things like deductibles, co-insurance, and certain limitations that can be costly in the event of an accident or illness. With Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans, you have options to Medicare supplement insurance plans with 4 levels of affordable coverage and service from an organization known for its commitment serving Kansans. We encourage you to compare our rates. For more information and to get a quote, contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you or visit kfbhealthplans.com. Medicare supplements insured by Members Health Insurance Company, Columbia, Tennessee. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. or state government.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.